Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Alex. I'm here with Kev for another episode of the Chelsea Fan TV preview show, the CFTV preview show. Haven't had an episode for a couple of games, and that's my fault, guys. I'll be honest with you. Over Christmas, I was staying with my girlfriend, and there's no Wi-Fi. There is no Wi-Fi, people. So there was nothing I could do. Kev was texting me. I was trying to get on the camera, but I just couldn't do it. I'll be honest. It would have been more painful for the videos to have come out than not to come out. It would have been that bad. So we're back, but that's the most important thing. We're back in business. Chelsea are back in business. 2 wins on the bounce, Kev, obviously, before rounding off 2023 in a nice positive way. And hopefully we can see a much better 2024 coming forward, because 2023 has been a pretty rubbish year, hasn't it, Kev?
Oh wow! I'm not a really a statistical kind of person, but if you want to go off stats alone, Chelsea were the worst Premier League team in the whole of the Premier League. So, yeah, it was a bad year. Chops and changes, bad decisions, bad performances, and yeah, we're still here to see another day. But if you want to start the year on a positive, we went to Luton, made it hard for ourselves once again. Mistakes and set plays letting us down, but we got the W. That's the most important thing. So can we this month? You cannot get an easier month to go on a run. Okay, we keep on saying the same thing. It's like a broken record. We keep saying easy runs and consistency and all that. We've tried to come up with plenty of analogies and how we can find form. But when you look at it on paper, we've got 2 championship teams in a row. And then we've got who we've got after that.
Fulham
We've got
after that, and then we've got
Fulham at
Middlesbrough
home.
again, and then we round off with Liverpool at the end of the month. But obviously, if we beat Preston, we'll probably have another FA Cup fixture in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
So there you go. So this is our chance to. Liverpool's the only game that would be a game that we would drop points or get an L. So this is our chance now. Start the year as we mean to go on. Start the year seriously. I don't know what we're going to bring in, what players we're going to bring in. Doesn't look like we're going to do much business, but it's looking better than what it was last month. There's a bit of momentum. Obviously we beat Luton, we beat Palace. So can we just carry on the way we've done the last few weeks?
100%, mate. I mean, you were just talking about January and the transfer window. Obviously, we don't really talk much about transfers because it is a preview show. But I'll be honest with you, I know sweet FA about Preston North End. I know nothing. I've seen obviously they're 14th in the Championship. They've got a couple of players we've heard of before, like Tom Brady used to play for Burnley,
Yeah.
and they're obviously in horrific form. I mean, I I don't think there's really much to worry about, Kev.
Tom Brady, are you sure that's not the Birmingham City owner? I think he was on about Robbie Brady.
Oh,
I think
sorry, Rob
let me
Brady.
just
That's
correct you
right, mate.
there. Yeah, they've got a couple players with Premier League experience. Ben Woodburn. They've also who else they've got? They've got Liam Lindsay, and they've also got an ex prison FC player in Chad Evans. So yeah, not much quality in their team, not much form as well. Won one in their last 5 games. So this is there for the taking. This is a game where Pochettino, for me, he's got to get it right. I wouldn't be swapping and changing. I wouldn't be starting a weakened team. Start your strongest team and let's find some form. Let's go and play the strongest team available to us. If we go and get 4-0 and then we go to Middlesbrough and get another 2 or 3, it's just building momentum. Don't swap and change it. Just go and beat these teams, give them a good beating, and that's when the confidence comes in. So yeah, it's there for the taking. It's there for the taking.
100%. And obviously, we always seem to get results against the small teams anyway. I mean, I'm not even talking about minor teams. These are just relegation teams or teams that are even in the league. Obviously, we beat Blackburn. And then
Yeah.
we've come off the wins with Luton and Sheffield. It's hardly impressive, but it shows that we can still get results against teams that lack quality, which we still don't have enough of, in my opinion, but we have more than them. So yeah, I don't see how they have any firepower to compete with us. I know Preston have had some good results at times, but the form speaks for itself. Um, I just don't really see anything special happening in this game. I mean, when we talk about Pochettino's game management, though, I mean, we saw it against, I think it was Plymouth. Was it Plymouth Argyle? When they had the penalty. And to be honest with you, mate, we looked absolutely shocking. Um, and I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, we're going to be out in the cup straight away. But we managed to get through it, and it was luck. I'll be honest with you. And we've had so much luck in a lot of ways, and game management is certainly not something Pochettino's been great at since he's been at Chelsea. I don't really think that's one of his biggest fortes anyway, especially when you look at his record with Tottenham and PSG. I can't really remember Espanyol or Southampton, to be honest with you. Um, there's so many games where they were trying to cling on to a victory or control a game or stay in control, and they just lost it. Like Real Madrid in the Champions League, like when they played us at the Battle of the Bridge and we drew 2-2. Games like that, which do make me think Pochettino's never really been great at game management, but what he is good at is managing players and managing a team and a squad and a club. And sometimes people expect managers to be great at everything. And I think if that was the case, then you'd look at each manager and say, oh, okay, this and that. But for me, Pochettino is a really top manager, but in his field, in that area. Like for Thomas Tuchel was a tactician master. But actually, if you look at his squad management, there was a lot of players that weren't happy, which you don't really have under Pochettino. So you could argue that Pochettino's man management is actually better than Tuchel. Now, I'm not saying he's a better manager, because tactically we all know that's a load of bollocks. Tuchel was the man. And ultimately, you want to win your games on the pitch. But when you talk about a process, a lot of it is off the pitch. And that's where Pochettino gets it spot on for me. But, I mean, what do you think, Kev? Do you agree with that?
Tuchel struck me as like a strict PE teacher, head teacher. He had a lot of fallings out of players because of his. You can tell that he's set in his ways. He's very strict. You can see. I think Pochettino is a bit more. You can see from the pictures from training when you go into the Chelsea FC socials. Seems like he has a laugh at the joke of them quite a bit. Even when results are not going our way, he seems to always be having jokes, and that's not Tuchel. So yeah, you are right in the sense where I think the man manager side of Pochettino is better, but does that win you trophies? No, it doesn't.
Well, we don't know that, Kev. We don't know that because we are still in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, but
ultimately,
nothing's won yet. It's still got a long way to go. We haven't beat Middlesbrough yet. We haven't beat potentially Liverpool, whoever we've got to face. So, in a sense, I'd rather have a Tuchel, even if players are falling out. But at the end of the day, it's on the managers. The manager knows more than us. Look at the players he fell out with, Lukaku's, and players with shit attitudes. So, it's the proof was there for everyone to see. But yeah, Pochettino still got a lot to do in regards to tactics. I think on our corner kicks we've been awful this year.
oh man,
Awful. We've conceded so many goals, even against Luton, made it difficult for ourselves. So Pochettino's got to work on his tactics. He's got to work on his in-game management as well. But I think once he gets better at those two acquisitions, I'm sure he'll start doing a lot better. But yeah, if we can win this League Cup, it will go a long way for him to start getting a winning mentality, which every manager needs.
You just reminded me when you spoke about corners. We had a guy, I can't remember his name. I'll look him up in a second. He was part of Tuchel's backroom staff, and he left Chelsea to go to Bayern Munich with Tuchel. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, the English manager.
Oh, mate, he was a backroom staff. He was a set piece specialist.
Yeah.
And obviously he's gone now, and we don't know how to deal with set pieces, which is just typical. So, it just goes to show that even the smallest things make a big difference. And, I'm sure Pochettino does work on set pieces, but you have staff that are supposed to specialize in those departments.
Attention to detail. It's attention to detail. Like it's using analytic data. So you go through the last 5 Luton corners, and you'd see patterns of play, and then you'd work on how you can try and not concede goals. So if you've got number 14, who was whoever it was, he makes a run to the front post most games. You'd work on how you could contain that, and it's not working at the moment. We're conceding way too many goals. But yeah, it's probably down to not having a specialist in set plays. But you can't make excuses up. We've got to be better than what we've seen. The amount of goals we concede in off corners, not acceptable. It's got to get better, and this is where in big games it's going to strike us out. Against Luton, very very lucky to come away with the 3 points, and it's set plays letting us down every game.
I think that's one of the reasons, and I'm not saying it's justified, but I do think that's one of the reasons Poch plays centre backs as a right back or a left back. I think that's why he's done it with Colwell and why he's done it with Disasi as well in the past, because he just wants to heighten the box, because we struggle so much with set pieces. But ultimately, even if you've got Dan Burn in there, one of the tallest players in the league, if he doesn't know what to do, if the players don't have a structure and they're not confident, then you're always going to concede goals. Like against Luton, mate, I remember when balls were coming into the box and Disasi was there. For me, Disasi looked weak against Luton. He didn't look good. And, I actually think Disasi's been all right for us. But I do look at him in the back four, and I see a weak link, to be honest with you. And people don't really talk about that. I know Colwell's not been great at left back, but he's not.
Body Shield as well. Body Shaw's been making mistakes as well. Body Shaw made, I think, him against Palace, he made a mistake. Against Wolves, he made a mistake. He's been making mistakes left, right, centre. So it's mistakes and set plays that it's defensive errors letting us down in every game. So we need to eradicate those mistakes. Attacking wise, we look a lot better than last season, but defensively, we're not as good.
And people are still very quick to call out our attacking players, but that has improved a lot. And for me, I would always rather be a team that scores a lot of goals and maybe concedes a fair few, rather than a team that concedes none and scores none, like we were last season, Kev. That is a prime example. We didn't concede many goals, Kev, but we couldn't score a goal to save our life. At least, I'm not talking about results here. I mean, just from an entertainment factor, it makes it, you can justify spending the money when you see a 4-4 against Man City and games like that. Those kind of games are magical, and people don't talk about it that much. But Lampard's first season at Chelsea, every game was like a basketball match. It was up and down and up and down. I mean, it was great football to watch. Very, very open. And obviously we conceded a lot of chances, but very entertaining as well. And there's no doubt that Pochettino's trying to entertain. It's just getting the balance right between entertainment and results. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just going to get straight into it. I think you've got to start Madueke. I don't see any reason for him not to get more game time, because he's been so restricted since Poch has come in. Obviously, he was injured at one point as well, and then the clubbing incident, and he just didn't get the game time that he, I'm not going to say deserved, but that he would want to have. So, after what I've seen in the past few games, obviously the penalty win against Crystal Palace, which he won that penalty as well. And then the great goal against Luton, which was a nice solo goal, mate. I mean, when you talk about opening up teams or taking chances against teams that will sit back and won't necessarily give you an awful lot of space and still be able to carve out those chances, that is a proper footballer, mate. And in the modern day, Man City are looking for those players, all the top teams. So for us to have a player like Madueke, who is extremely underappreciated by Chelsea fans at the moment, I think we're going to see very, very soon, if he keeps playing, that he is a much better player than people think. And it's exactly what I said about Mudryk, and I think it's going to be the same with Madueke. For me, those two on either side, that is the long-term. Those are the players I want to see playing for us, mate. They're young, exciting, and they want to fucking play, Kev. And I see Sterling after Wolves. I think it's unforgivable what he did against Wolves. If you were there, I mean, that was bad. I mean, and we still talk about it, and we're doing a preview for Preston, and we're still talking about the horrific miss that Sterling made. I mean, God, the guy, all you had to do is square the ball. You cannot play for a couple of games. I'm sorry. I know he was not available anyway because of the accumulation of
Yellow
yellow.
cards.
But why would you start him, Poch? He's not showing any leadership. He's not showing any quality. He scored against fucking Burnley and Luton. Come on, man. So Madueke and Mudryk, for me, I would love to see them play. Obviously, if there's an injury, then fair enough. Like I could understand if Mudryk doesn't play. I could understand that. But Madueke, he's got to play. And then Broha, I mean, he's not been great, but this is the kind of game where if you can't score against Preston, my friend, then you're not going to be able to score against many Premier League teams. So give him the chance.
This is his chance. Now Jackson's gone to the AFCON. He's going to have. This is his time now. This is where we make our. I've been a bit indecisive on Broa because he's never had a run. He's never had a good 5 to 10 games run, injury free, and just a chance where he can prove himself in a blue shirt. This is his chance now. So, like I said, he can get at least 3 or 4 goals just this week if he really wants it. Because he's got Preston and Middlesbrough back to back, 2 championship teams. He's got to really show.
He scored against as well at Craven Cottage.
So this is your chance now. And as a striker, you live off goals. Doesn't matter what you're doing off the ball. Doesn't matter about your assists. You live. Confidence gives a striker. I mean, goals gives a striker confidence. So if you're not scoring, you're not playing. I can see why he's a bit deflated. But this is his chance now. He's got to take it with open arms. So yeah, and in respect to Madueke as well, been brilliant. He's brought it back. There's a lot of talk of him going out on loan a few weeks ago, and now he's come up with 2 goals, and everything looks great again. Sterling wouldn't be nowhere near the starting lineup at the moment. He'd probably be 4th choice winger. Too inconsistent.
Well, this is where I think it would be an absolute disgrace if Poch does start him. I think that's a fucking disgrace, Kev. You know, he's given Sterling the faith. What's he got back for it, Kev?
Yeah. There you go. And obviously, Madueke, he's had his punishment, and he's come back. He's letting the football do the talking. I still think there's a lot more to come from him, and he's got to show a lot more. This is nothing yet. 2 goals, 1 goal against Palace and a goal against Luton doesn't do anything for me. It's about what he can do against Preston, what he can do against Middlesbrough, what he can do against Fulham. Consistency as a player. This is the month where these young players can get some consistency and get into the team. So, you know, it's a good month for Chelsea. Let's see if the players can rise to it.
Mate, I mean, we can't be losing these games. You know, I know I talk about patience and process, and I fully believe in it. And by the way, I still don't think you should sack Poch if we lose some of these games. I just say that straight away, because you don't believe in a process if you're not going to ride out through difficult times. Now, I don't know if it's going to be any worse or any better, but I do know that we're going to have our ups and downs. We've got to be beating Preston. Middlesbrough away. I mean, we've done it before. That should be comfortable. They're only 13th in the championship. You know, Carrick's got them playing some good football, but come on, guys. And then Fulham, you know, we beat them at Craven Cottage. We've got to do it at Stamford Bridge as well. That's a derby. You've got to be up for it. And Middlesbrough again. You know, the only game that you're looking to struggle with is Liverpool, but we actually have a decent away record at Anfield. You know, we very rarely go there and lose. So I wouldn't be surprised. We are capable of going unbeaten this month. I'm not saying we're going to win every match, but we're very capable of going unbeaten.
Alex, that's the bar though, mate. We should be. There should be no. There's no. If self-doubt is the biggest thing that can go against you in these kind of games, Pochettino should be saying we can win every game this month, and we should be. Yeah. There's no excuses whatsoever why we can't beat Middlesbrough, Preston, and Fulham. The only game, like I says, that we could probably get a draw out is Liverpool. Apart from that, we've got to win. We can't keep going. We can't keep lowering our standards as Chelsea fans anymore to say we might do this. We've got to win. This is Chelsea Football Club. There's no ifs or buts now. And this is where, like I says, we start the year right, going into February. Look at that. Probably got 6 wins on the bounce and a draw. Look at that. Look at that does for confidence when Jackson comes back. The team's going to be revitalised. Probably add a couple more players into the mix, who knows. So it's all down to us now. Pochettino's got to be installing this mentality into the players now that this is a vital month for not for himself but for Chelsea, because we're 10th place in the league, not acceptable where we are. We can close the gap. We can get to 8th place, 7th place if we just go on a little run now.
100%, mate. And then obviously, there's a lot of talk about Sanchez being available or almost ready, back from his injury. But for me, I don't think we've seen enough of Petrovic, and I'd like to see him play more games. And he came in to be our number 2 anyway. These are the kind of games that a number 2 would be playing. So I think it would be very harsh to get Sanchez straight back in and drop Petrovic. I would love to see him playing most of the games this month. And honestly, although we can have debates about goalkeeping ability, being able to save the ball, distribution-wise, Petrovic is on top for me. I think he's a calmer head. I think he's a cooler head. And, Sanchez never really earned that number 1 spot. He had good moments, but he has some shit moments as well. So as far as I'm concerned, it's all up for grabs.
Yeah. Personally, I stay with Sticky Petrovic, even if Sanchez come back. Reason being is he's had a good run. He's had a good run. He's getting confidence. Sanchez has got to earn his right. And before Sanchez's injury, let's be honest, he was rubbish. He was poor, giving the ball away sloppily, making mistakes. Petrovic hasn't done that. He hasn't done that. Doesn't done anything near it. Distribution seems to be really good. Seems to be really commanding, coming out on corner kicks. So he's doing everything Sanchez is doing, and he's doing it more confidently. So you keep Petrovic. The right thing to do is keep with Petrovic. Maybe when his form starts to dip, that's when Sanchez gets a sniff. But right now, you just stick with what's been good the last few weeks, and that's been Petrovic.
Yeah, man. I will be baffled with that decision, and also Sterling. Those are the 2 things that I just think. Listen, you're the manager, Poch. Do your thing. But I just don't understand it if he drops Petrovic or if Sterling's playing. I don't understand. You're taking minutes away from other players who deserve it. And, we just spoke about man management as well. What kind of precedence does that set for the squad for players who aren't performing to the right standard, and they're still going to get the opportunity when other players have performed and still don't get the opportunity? Like, I get it if everyone's crap. But if the good players, your ready-made, proven players, really, I'm looking more at Sterling. If they're not performing, and then the younger players are coming in and doing more than them, then you've got to put the younger players ahead, and that fits into the project anyway. Bowley's all over that, mate.
One thing I can say, one player that we haven't spoke about, when you want to talk about young players and experienced pros, Alfie Gilchrist. What he's done in 30 minutes. He's proven to me like you can't make assumptions on players in such short periods of time. But leadership, you can't buy leadership. Doesn't matter what qualities you've got. You could be the next Ronaldinho, yeah. But that doesn't prove anything. Just him coming on those games and him pointing and clapping and pointing and going in for a challenge and getting back up and going proper Charles. That's what we want to see. I'd rather have a back line of Arthur Gilchrist right now, because they're going to have unity, they're going to have connection, they're going to have leadership, and this is what we've been missing. So even if James was to come back now and be fit, and Arthur Gilchrist was playing better and showing leadership, it'd be hard to choose James over Gilchrist. And I'm not just saying it because I have to say that players should be getting picked on what they're doing on the pitch and not what they've done in the past. And Madueke hasn't had a career of Sterling's, nowhere near. But right now he's doing better things than what Sterling's doing, so he does deserve to get the nod. So same with Gilchrist, same with Petrovic. Every player should be playing, it should be chosen on form and not what they've done in the past.
I mean, even when you look at Silva, who's he is the oldest player in the squad by a long way. He's still one of our better performing players, and he's got the history to back it up, and obviously the leadership. But ultimately, he's still doing a decent job on the pitch. Against Luton, he was the only player I could see in the box who was proactive when defending, and other defenders.
Leadership. And Silva, at the end of the game, look how pissed off he was. Everyone else was thinking clapping and celebrating. Silver was pissed off. Want to know the reason why? Because he was like, "What the fuck was that? The last 10 minutes, what the fuck was that? Bullshit, bullshit." And these was what I'm on about. The difference between leaders and kids. All the kids in the team was happy to be going and clapping and that, and Silver was like, "Nah, not acceptable." So this is where I keep talking about leadership. And in Jan, this is what we need to go and get. If we're not going and getting a Thiago Silva or a Gilchrist, a leader, someone that can clap and point and cheer and dictate, there's no point in going out and getting these young players from Brazil. There's no point because they're not adding nothing to this team. So
yeah, I saw a thing from I can't remember his first name, but Gomez or Gomez. He was the goalkeeper for Tottenham for a while, and he was also Watford's goalkeeper. And he was talking about I think he's Brazilian.
Hilario Gomez. Yeah, paid for come for PSV. Yeah, no, he's about. He used to wear trousers. The one guy.
I didn't know that, to be fair.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But yeah, basically there was a story about Richarlison coming to Watford, and yeah, basically the way that the Brazilians settle is such different culture. And Gomez was saying, he picked up Richarlison every day and drove him to training. He helped him open his first bank account. He, helped him with all these different things when coming to England, because it's a massive culture shock. And you can imagine, right? You've only got so many players in your squad. So you're one of the more experienced players and you're trying to welcome all these other players into the team. Like, there's not enough players to keep up, Kev. So the transition is brutal and harsh. And on top of that, you've got the pressure from the fan base, the pressure from the club because they spent all that money. And then obviously the management because they need you to perform to keep their job. So all of these things, and then you've got this massive culture shock. Like, the weather's crap. It's a difficult environment. If you don't hit the ground running, mate, it's very difficult to look at it and say, you know what? I still want to be here. I really enjoy this. What is the point where, as a player, you say, you know what? I've left my family, I've left my friends, my home country. I can't even have my local cuisine. Like, they wouldn't be able to go to a restaurant and order what they order in Brazil. There's no form of comfort. And obviously, we're just talking about Brazilian players, but this goes all around the world. So yeah, we just need to develop what we have. Obviously, we're going to keep signing young players. I mean, we're still signing young players, but the idea, what I would love to see is when we do progress the players we have, don't sell them off, please. Don't sell them off, because I'll tell you what, there is a hint that could happen. But if that happens, then what's the point? We're literally turning into like Southampton or Brighton. Come on, man. But you can't make these judgments obviously without knowing
let's just see where we get this January window. Like I said, we're 5 days into the window, and the only thing I'm seeing on the socials there is Osimhen, but that's for summer. It's very, very, very quiet compared to last year. I think we've got more of a settled squad than last year, but I still think we need a couple more leaders within that squad. Even just one or two players, that's it. To add to what we've got. Obviously, there's not going to be a world-class striker available this January. Tony apparently staying with Brentford. Osimhen's not available till summer, so it's one of them on sit and wait. But if we want to get a bit further at the table, leadership is needed.
100%, Kev. And just to round off the video, mate, we'll do score predictions for Preston. I mean, yeah, I'm very confident. I'm going to go with 3-1 because I do think they might get on the score sheet.
I'm going to go 4-0, Preston. 4-0 Chelsea. 4-0 Chelsea. What the hell was I on about? 4-0 Chelsea.
Goodness gracious, Kev. No, it's all good though, man. Well, listen, always a pleasure, mate. Thanks for coming on. And listen, thank you everyone for watching as well. If you've been here for almost 30 minutes, thanks for being a part of the show. I hope you enjoyed. If you agree or disagree with anything myself or Kev has said, let us know in the comments. It's always good to see what everyone has, and if there's any little debates going on, that sometimes people do catch me out. I'll be honest, Kev. Sometimes, I really come on, I'm like, shit, man, I was actually wrong. So yeah, let me know. Other than that, subscribe to the channel, guys, and hopefully we'll win against Preston. I'm sure we will. And up the Chelsea.